In a quiet, picturesque hamlet surrounded by rolling hills and lush greenery, there was a modest carpenter named Edward. He owned an aging horse named Jasper, who had served him faithfully for years by helping carry timber from the forest to Edward's small workshop. But time had taken its toll on Jasper, and his strength had waned, leaving him no longer able to perform the heavy tasks of his younger days. Edward, a kind man, decided to let Jasper live out his remaining days peacefully. He allowed the horse to roam freely in the meadow near his home, where Jasper could graze to his heart's content and bask under the warm sunlight. One fateful afternoon, while Jasper meandered through the meadow, he stepped on some loose ground near an old, abandoned mine shaft and tumbled in. The narrow shaft was deep, and the poor horse found himself trapped at the bottom with no way to climb out. Frightened and disoriented, Jasper began to whinny loudly, his voice echoing through the shaft and across the meadow. It wasn't long before a shepherd passing nearby heard the distressed cries. Curious and alarmed, the shepherd followed the sound to the mine shaft and peered inside. His heart sank at the sight of Jasper, stuck and helpless. Wasting no time, the shepherd ran to Edward's house to inform him of the situation. Edward was shocked to hear the news. He hurried to the site with a group of neighbors who had offered their assistance. They all stood around the mine, peering down at Jasper, who looked up at them with pleading eyes. Despite their best efforts to pull him out using ropes and makeshift tools, the shaft was too deep and narrow for a successful rescue. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, Edward, filled with sorrow, came to a painful conclusion. "Jasper is too old," he said with a heavy heart. "Even if we manage to get him out, he might not survive the ordeal. It might be kinder to let him go." Reluctantly, Edward and the villagers decided to fill the mine with dirt, hoping to give Jasper a peaceful rest. They grabbed shovels and began to toss soil into the shaft. At first, Jasper panicked. The falling dirt startled him, and he let out frantic cries. But as the soil accumulated around him, something remarkable happened. Jasper realized that if he shook off the dirt and stepped onto it, he could raise himself higher. And so, with every shovelful of dirt that landed on his back, Jasper shook it off, stomped it down, and climbed up a little higher. The villagers continued their task, unaware of what was happening below. As the mound of soil grew, Jasper's cries grew quieter until they ceased altogether. Puzzled, Edward leaned over the edge of the mine to check on his old companion. His jaw dropped in astonishment. There was Jasper, standing near the top of the soil mound, his head almost level with the ground. With one final heave, Jasper leaped out of the mine and landed gracefully on solid ground. The crowd gasped, and then erupted into cheers. Edward, overwhelmed with emotion, embraced Jasper and whispered, "I'm so sorry I doubted you, old friend." Jasper, however, seemed indifferent to the applause. With a flick of his tail, he trotted off into the meadow, his head held high, as if to declare that he was no longer just an old horse, but a survivor. Edward watched him go, tears in his eyes. He had learned a profound lesson that day. Resilience, determination, and self-worth can overcome even the direst situations. Edward watched him go, tears in his eyes. He had learned a profound lesson that day. Resilience, determination, and self-worth can overcome even the direst situations. This story also emphasizes self-reliance and inner strength. When Jasper realized no one else could save him, he found a way to save himself. This reminds us that we should trust in our abilities and persevere, even when others doubt us. Finally, the boy is a reminder of self-worth. Others may underestimate us, but it's important to believe in ourselves and prove our value through actions, not words. Life's challenges can be overcome when we face them with courage and determination. Thanks for watching video. Wait for next video.